Hello, I'm Nam and I work at Solana Center. We work with the County of San Diego to help students and schools learn how to take better care of the earth. Today, we'll learn how the waste we create affects our planet and what you can do at lunchtime or any time to be kind to the earth. First, we need to understand, what is waste? Waste can be a lot of things. It may be something we don't want, something we're no longer using, or something we don't think is valuable. Think of all the things you throw away each day. There are so many things that we waste. But after you throw it away, it has to go somewhere, right? So where does it all go? If we throw out our waste in the trash, it's taken to a landfill where it's dumped and covered with dirt. Landfills usually aren't good for our planet. They take up lots of space and can make our air, water, and soil unhealthy. We want to have fewer landfills, so we need to know how to send less waste there. So, what can we do to make less landfill waste? Well, a lot of what we're throwing away isn't actually waste at all. They're valuable resources that we can use again and again. That's because some materials can be recycled or composted when we're done using them. This allows them to get turned into new things that we can use all over again. You may already know about blue bin recycling. Maybe you put your used paper in there in class, or help your family put your curbside container out each week for pickup. When something gets recycled, it's turned back into something else we can use again. These materials basically get another life. But not everything can get recycled. Some materials can't get turned into something else, even if we want them to. And just like it's hard to enjoy a sandwich if it includes things we can't eat, it's also hard to recycle things when they're mixed with stuff that can't be recycled. So, how do we know what gets recycled? We can figure out the answer by asking, what's it made out of? There are 4 materials that can be recycled: glass, metal, paper, and plastic. Items made out of these materials can often be recycled. Let's start with glass. This one is simple. Just about anything made from glass can be recycled. At lunchtime, this might include glass bottles or jars. Next is metal. A lot of things we eat might be stored in metal containers, like a can of soda or soup, aluminum foil, or some takeout containers. Another material we can usually recycle is paper, with some exceptions we'll talk about soon. Our paper category includes all sorts of things made from paper and cardboard, like paper bags, milk, or juice cartons, and cardboard food boxes. Finally, many things made from hard plastic can be recycled. Note that hard is a key word here. We'll learn why in a minute. Some hard plastic things we can recycle are water bottles, fruit or yogurt cups, and plastic takeout containers. Plastic is very important to recycle or throw away properly because it can break down into tiny pieces and hurt wildlife. Now that we know what to put in our blue recycling bin, let's learn how our food scraps can be kept out of the landfill and turned into something useful. If we're at lunch, that means we have food, right? And while we should eat our own food, not throw it out, sometimes there are leftovers that we can't eat. So what do we do with those grape stems, or the slice of cheese you didn't want on your sandwich, or our dirty napkin? Well, all of our food scraps came from something that was alive. And when something is no longer alive, nature has a special way of recycling these materials. We call this decomposition, or composting, when humans help make it happen. During decomposition, living creatures like bacteria, mushrooms, and insects will eat the once living material and break it down into tiny pieces that become part of the soil. This broken down material is called compost. When we add compost to our soil, it helps our plants grow bigger and stay healthy, and benefits our planet in lots of other ways. Maybe your lunch area already has a bin for compost, or maybe you're getting one for the first time. Your bin might be green, yellow, or brown, like fallen leaves. Just like our blue recycling bin, it's important to know what goes in the compost bin so that our food scraps can actually get turned into compost. Knowing what goes in our compost bin is easy. If it came from something living, it goes in the compost bin. This includes all foods like fruits and vegetables that came from plants, and meat and dairy that came from animals. It also includes floppy or food-covered paper like napkins or greasy paper bags, which came from a tree. Just make sure to take your food scraps out of any packaging and don't throw any trash or recyclables in the compost bin. We've learned about what can be recycled and composted, but as we learned earlier, it's also important to know what can't be turned into new materials. In particular, people sometimes get confused about what goes in our blue recycling bin. Let's learn how we can sort right so that our blue bin items can actually get recycled. Even when something is made of glass, metal, paper, or plastic, sometimes they still can't be put in our blue recycling bin. This happens when something is full of food or liquid, too floppy or sloppy, made from a mix of materials, or just too small. When we try to recycle something full of food or liquid, that stuff gets all over the other things in the recycle bin too. Things can't be recycled when they're covered in food, liquid, or grease. If something is made of plastic, glass, or metal, we should try to tap out the food. If our paper is covered in food, we should compost it instead of recycling. Some things are made out of plastic or paper that is too soft to be recycled. We call these floppy, sloppy items. Remember that only hard or rigid plastics can be recycled. If something plastic holds its shape when we bend or squeeze it, we can recycle it. If the plastic can be easily crumpled into a ball, like a bag or wrapper, it goes in the trash. Same thing with paper. We can't recycle soft, floppy things like paper towels or napkins. For paper, try the fold test. If folding the paper leaves a crease, we can recycle. If the crease doesn't stay, don't recycle it. We also can't recycle many items made from a mix or blend of different materials. When our recyclables are taken to a sorting facility, they're sorted to put like with like. So, plastics go with plastics, metals go with metals, and so on. But what about something like this chip container? It's made of both paper and metal. We can't take these apart, so it's better not to try recycling this. If we can easily separate two kinds of materials before we recycle them, we should do so. Finally, there are a couple of things that shouldn't be recycled, even though they're made of hard plastic. This is because items that are too small can get stuck in the machines that sort our recyclables, and this puts the whole sorting process on pause. This includes plastic forks, spoons, and straws, but you should also keep out other plastic things that are small and skinny. Now this can be a lot to remember, but with a bit of practice, you'll be a sorting expert in no time. Don't forget, you can always check the signs at your sorting station if you aren't sure. When we make a little effort to sort right at lunchtime, we can make a big impact in keeping our planet healthy. Now we've learned what goes in our recycling and compost bins, so we can put the right types of waste there. Now, how can we put this all into action at lunchtime? The best way to make sure everything gets put in the right place is to look at each item on our lunch tray or lunchbox and think about where it should go. It might be helpful if you stand in front of one bin at a time and ask yourself, what belongs here? You can check the signs above each bin. They'll tell you what goes where. Let's start in front of our recycling bin. We'll look down and ask, what can be recycled? Remember, we're looking for things made out of glass, metal, hard plastic, and paper or cardboard. We have an empty milk carton made out of paper, some aluminum foil, and a plastic cup with some applesauce still inside. We'll need to empty this out before we recycle the cup. Next, let's think about what goes in our compost bin. Which things on our tray used to be alive? The applesauce in our cup came from an apple tree, our napkin came from a tree too, and the crust from our sandwich came from a wheat plant. All of these can go in our compost bin. Anything on our tray that can't be recycled or composted will get put in the trash. We may end up with some odd items that we're not sure where to put. Check the signs to find an example. If you're still unsure, remember this simple rule. If in doubt, throw it out. Although we want to recycle and compost as much as possible, it's better to keep things out we're not sure belong there. Here, we'll throw out our utensils, our floppy plastic, and our granola bar wrapper. Don't forget the tray itself. If your tray is made of paper and has food on it, add it to the compost. If it's clean paper, you can recycle. If it's made from styrofoam, you can throw it in the trash, or your school may have a special place to stack your trays. Do we know where to put everything on our tray now? Ready, set, sort! What do you think? Are you ready to sort your waste at lunchtime? If you're still not sure, don't worry. Just practice, check the sorting station signs, and ask an adult if you're not sure. When all of us do our best, our planet will thank us, and we get to be healthier and happier too. Thanks for learning with us, and we'll see you at lunchtime.